You've got a fire in your belly, a passion to serve, and an insatiable drive to contribute. You know that if you can just get your message in front of the right people, you can change lives. But where to start? There are so many options, so many moving pieces. You get bogged down, overwhelmed, frustrated, while the burning desire to serve others consumes you. I know, I've been there. And these days I bring life-changing impact and value to people's lives through the creation of books, funnels, online courses and coaching programs, and virtual summits. This is the Call to Serve podcast. I'm Tim Cooper, and this is my journey. When my son got cancer the first time, he was just 9 years old. And I must admit, throughout that 7-month period when he was going through intense chemotherapy, it was just a blur. When the doctors and nurses and people were talking to me, the words were just washing over me. I just couldn't comprehend things. I couldn't believe things. And the only thing that was going on in my mind, the most important thing that was going on in my mind was, will he live? And then when he got cancer the second time, he was 16 years old. He was diagnosed just before his 16th birthday. And that time I handled things a little bit better, and because firstly he was living with me, and I had my responsibilities that I had to look after him. Had to put on that supportive, solid, smiley, carefree face. It was to the outside world, it looked like everything was okay, that I was handling things very well. And the second time he had cancer, he was on chemotherapy for 2 years. And during that time, there was a period where I got into a really dark place. And while I had to put on that front of carefree, happy, and support, it was tough. It was tough times, and it got to the point where I couldn't even get out of bed. And so what I had to do in order to function was, in the morning, I'd wake up, and as I lay there, I'd go through all the things in my life that I was grateful for. And I was thankful for those things. I was grateful that my son was still alive. I was grateful that I was still alive. I was grateful that we had a nice house, a roof over our head. I was grateful that I had a job. I was grateful that I had support. There were all these things. So even though there were really bad things happening in our life at that stage, there were still things that I found to be grateful for. And through going through that gratitude exercise every morning, it lifted my mood, and I could get out of bed and have some sort of positive outlook on the world. And you may be thinking, oh, Tim, that just sounds so woo-woo, airy-fairy, out there. And what I'm going to show you in today's episode is really exciting, because this works for everything. It's like this. If I take this pen and I hold it out in front of me and I let go, it falls. And that's called the law of gravity, right? And the law of gravity works for everything on this planet. Like a tree lets go of a leaf or a branch and it will fall. That's the law of gravity. And that law of gravity will work for everybody and everything. It will work for everybody regardless of their gender, their age, their race, their creed, their color, their religion, their financial status. It just works. It's a law. It's universal, right? And what I'm going to show you is also a universal law that works for everything. And it's the law of polarity. And this is how you can find light in the darkness, or just positivity. Because, things happen. My son had cancer, that was a fact. But the law of polarity says that there are two poles. There's a positive and negative pole associated with everything in the universe. That's what keeps the universe in balance. And that positive and negative side of things, they exist. They coexist. They're there at the same time. Like, have you ever seen a one-sided coin or a one-sided piece of paper? Right? It's impossible. So, so like, here's a coin, and it has two sides. It has a head and it has a tail. And if I put that in my hand with the head facing up and my focus is on the head, does that mean that the tail doesn't exist just because I can't see it? And if I flip it over and now I'm looking at the tail, my focus is on the tail, does that mean that the head no longer exists just because I can't see it? And so the same principle, the same law applies to everything in life. And so when you are faced with something, you have a choice. You have a choice to focus on the positive side, or you have a choice to focus on the negative side. Because they coexist. You can choose to have a good day or a bad day. They're both there. They're both there at the same time. They coexist. So let me give you another example. As I said in a previous episode, I got a phone call early in the week saying that the owner of this beautiful apartment that I live in has put it on the market. Hence why the illusion of the video has gone and you're just seeing my blank wall. Now, I can look at that negatively because I really don't want to move. As I said, my apartment is part of a complex that is on top of a shopping centre. I don't drive, so I just get in the lift, go downstairs. I've got the pharmacy, I've got the supermarket, I've got coffee shops, I've got restaurants. Everything I need is within walking distance, just downstairs. So convenience-wise, it's great. So I don't want to move. Now, I can get all negative about it and go, what am I going to do? And everything else. And now I'm building this anxiety over something that may not even happen. Like, who knows? An investor may end up buying this place and I may be able to stay. Or if I have to move, maybe the property management of this complex can find me another unit so I can still stay in the complex and have that convenience and not move so far. And the sort of moving, but the point is I can look at the negative side of that, and everything it's done this week, it's thrown my entire week into turmoil because now I've had to reorganize my entire home so that a photographer can come in to take the photos for the real estate. So I could focus on that negativity and get myself all wound up and feeling sick and stressed, and then that's going to interfere with my ability to function. It's going to interfere with my ability to serve. It's going to interfere with my ability to work. Or I can look at the positive side. And I'm locked in here until January anyway. My lease is here till January, so it's not as if we're going to be out on the streets tomorrow. And a little time ago, an opportunity came up for me to move closer to my family. See, when I moved here, my son was living with me, and I was involved in the local sports club. So this was my community, but I'm no longer involved in that sports club, and my son has moved to the other side of the city, and my parents live on the other side of the city. So I had this opportunity this opportunity was given to me to move to be close, and if I moved, I'd be closer to my son, I'd be closer to my parents. And that place isn't ready yet. It's currently being renovated. But I was told that when that place is ready, it will be offered to me. And it's a lot more affordable as well. So if I look at the situation now and go, okay, well, this place has gone on the market, maybe that was the push I needed to move, because I really don't want to move, and I won't have the convenience of just having the shop straight downstairs. So what do I have to do? Can I get all negative, or do I flip that coin and look at the positive? I'm going to frame this in a positive way, because I just can't afford to get down and stressed and all wound up over something that may not even happen yet. Who knows? Like, an investor may buy it and I'll stay here, and I went through all that stress and worry for absolutely nothing, because that's what anxiety is. It's the worry about an outcome that may happen, right? So that's what I'm doing. I could even turn around and say, instead of asking, oh no, what am I going to do? I could turn around and say, wouldn't it be awesome, or won't it be awesome when I can turn around and afford to buy this place? So they can't sell it out from underneath me, I'm going to buy it. Well, if the place sells in a week, I won't have the money in the bank for that. But that gives me, that plants the seed in my mind to do even more with my programs and my courses and the stuff that I do, to generate the money that I need, that if a place, and places come up in this complex to buy all the time. So now I've got until the end of January to go and earn the money to buy one of these places, and then I'm here and I'm set, right? So it's all a matter of how you frame that fact, like something is happening, right? It's how you look at it, and you can choose to see the positive, or you can choose to see the negative. Like, instead of saying, oh, I can't do that, how about saying, won't it be great when I tackle that challenge and I succeed, and I get the result that I was looking for? Wouldn't that be great? And in a future episode, I'll be talking about how everything starts with an idea, everything starts with a thought. And so by looking at the world and understanding that there is a negative and positive pole that coexist, they are there together, like the head and the tail is there together. And the old saying, every cloud has a silver lining, well, there's probably an element of truth to that as well, because the entire universe works this way. And so all we've got to do is tap into that law, because the law is there. It's universal. It works for everyone and everything. We've just got to understand how that law works and how we can use that to our benefit, so that we can be stronger, better people and help others accordingly. So I hope that helps, and I hope that gives you some encouragement. Life doesn't have to be all doom and gloom, because on the other side, in that exact same moment, there is happiness and success, right? There's always those two poles. It's universal. There has to be a positive and negative to keep the universe in balance. So that's my message for you for today. Once again, if you are watching this on YouTube and you found this content valuable, inspiring, motivating, if you haven't done so already, please click the subscribe and the bell. Maybe give it a thumbs up. And if you've got any questions or feedback, you can drop them in the comments. If you're listening to this on another podcast platform, please follow the show. Once again, if you find it valuable, give us a review, and that will help spread the word out even further. And of course, If there's a way for you to reach out, if there's a way for you to contact me through that platform, please do so. Otherwise, I would love to hear from you. If you've got questions or feedback or whatever else, please reach out to me at tim@timcooper.au. That's tim@timcooper.au. Because, as I said, I'm sharing my journey. And as I go through my journey, I want to help you on yours. So that offer is always there. Okay, guys, I've got to keep on keeping on here. I've got a busy day ahead of me getting this place finalized for the photographer to come in. And once that's out of the way, hopefully things will go back to normal for a little while. But until tomorrow, you take care.